up new diesels. Yeah, landed in living. Yeah, we been forgiven.
Hey, what's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy KiteZz here with my lovely wife. It's just Alex.
What's up, peoples?
Hey, so today we got something special for y'all. Today we're talking about the Cam Newton and Dr. Cheyenne interview. Now, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is somebody that has been going around on the internet. She's been breaking the internet because she did a viral interview with Nick Cannon, and now she's doing one with Cam Newton. And I guess it's like it got some of y'all riled up that y'all felt like KiteZz and Alex need to talk about it. So here we are on another episode of Life Lessons and Blessings, the podcast made by 2G1A, aka me, Alex, and all my associates that you guys will eventually start seeing more and more. How do you feel about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, Alex? How you feel about her?
Just so far through the 40 minutes of what we watched for this portion of the segment, I like her. I feel like she gave a lot of different tidbits and like perspectives of certain things, and she did call out a lot of things when it pertains to like how people function on a day-to-day within relationships, outside of relationships, within yourself. And yeah, I like her so far. Like, she's cool. She gave some solid gems.
Okay. So we're gonna break it down to it, give a little background about Cheyenne Bryant. From what we saw on the interview, she said that she's the daughter of a Piru gang affiliate out here, Piru being a gang that is pretty dominant out here in California. She is a LA native. She also broke down a little bit how her mother was supposed to be one of the people that was kind of moving the product that the father was getting from his gang, and the mother ended up actually becoming one of the people addicted to the drugs that he was moving, and how it did a lot of damage to her family. And it's crazy. It's crazy because it's like, to know, I say this in my marriage a lot, everything that I do is going to affect Alex in some sort of fashion or way. That's the key to marriage, right? Is understanding that my actions affect you and your actions affect me, because we are the same person. We're two in one. And so it just sucks, because it's like the dad doing this, he's doing what he knows. He does what the hustle that he's been, brought up in. And it's just like, it must have ate him up inside to know, like, hey, the stuff I'm doing, I just made my own wife, or my own, well, not his wife, because they didn't get married. I just made my own partner, my baby mama, just go into this crazy, cycle that like really did a number on them.
She was, well, yeah, but she was already in the cycle because she was a gang affiliate as well.
True.
So it's kind of, it's two cycles that are never ending.
Right.
It started somewhere, but they got to figure out how to end it.
Right.
And they did it.
And the sad part is, the person that was affected the most of it was the child.
Yeah, but she ended the cycle.
Oh yeah, she did. She
ended the cycle.
So we're gonna go through, because we can't react to the whole thing. We can't have the full thing play for copyright. What we are gonna do is we are going to go through it segment by segment and just talk on it and talk on the key things that we did. We are gonna break this up into multiple parts. That way you guys are not sitting here listening to us ramble for 5 hours at a time. You feel what I'm saying? So the first thing that I felt like was a key thing that I noticed that she pointed out was she broke down an important lesson on how God works. So I want you guys to hear it.
It give you an understanding of why is if I give you the experience. And I said, I'm good, because words don't teach, experience does. And so for me, growing up as the oldest of 7, not having anyone in front of me to witness how to do life, how to get through this, I just went into prayer, supplication, and faith in myself and God, and I became very resilient. And at that point, I understood that life was a journey that was about self-growth by self, but about making sure that whatever God moves through me, he gives to me. So I want to make sure that whatever's coming out of me, I want to keep, 1. And 2, that whatever it is that I'm able to resolve or understand, or whatever pain pockets or trauma I'm able to navigate through, that I do have a duty, an unspoken oath
Ooh, she's talking that talk.
Good.
She's talking that talk. One thing that she said, that whatever God moves to me, moves through me, is kind of like, this is the analogy that they use in church a lot, is that we're sowing a seed and we're planting the seed, and we're growing the seed so it can bear fruit, right? So
you
I feel like
the harvest.
Exactly. And so one thing people got to understand, one thing we do is we ask God to give us a lot of grace. We ask God to give us a lot of blessings, right? But a lot of people, they'll get that grace and blessing from God, but they will not give that grace and blessing to other people, right? So God invested that grace and blessing into you. So now it's supposed to flow through you. It's supposed to be something that you give out to other people. And we have a lot of people that they just want to reap the benefits and gain the blessings, but they have no desire to be like the demonstration that God gave them and push those blessings out to people, you know?
Yeah, but sometimes I feel like people also like attach themselves to things that other people see for them. And just like she said, whatever God is moving through me, I want to keep. So a lot of people, for example, people say like, oh, like Alex, you draw really well. You draw really, really well. And I don't see the same fruits of my from my talents or the things that I can do, but other people see it for me. And sometimes people can take on blessings or like talents or things that people say like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, and they take it on as a form of pressure or peer pressure, like I gotta do this, but it's not something that they want or they want to keep. Right. So when she said that, I was like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If it's moving through you and God is giving it to you to do, it should be something that you want to keep. Don't constantly keep attaching yourself to things that you don't even want to do yourself. Right.
To give that to any human, because it's a human right to have mental health and a good quality of life. And so that's my story in a very, very small shell. There's a lot more to it. But, you know, being a broken little girl, when you heal right and when you take the necessary steps to get your trauma in alignment with who you really are, good people come from that.
See, when she said that, I was like, bro, it brought me back to when we were doing one of the reactions, and one of the points I was making, I'm like, dude, some of y'all be broken people trying to build a relationship with another broken person, and at that same time, you're trying to tell them how to fix themselves.
You're innately and unintentionally trauma bonding with someone else because you don't know how to face your own traumas. It's kind of redundant for you to try to fix somebody else's. Until you're able to fix your own traumas and really like do a deep dive on yourself, there's no room for you or no place for you to try to fix somebody else's. You can't fix something that you didn't break yourself. That's the other person's responsibility to fix it. Right. You can't fix people.
It's like if that person's life is like a vase and you drop that vase and it breaks into 5 pieces, right? But that person is the only person that saw how that vase is supposed to look. You get me? Me walking in, I got my broken vase in my hand and I'm like, hey man, that piece goes right there and this piece goes right here. But I have never seen this vase before in my life. I'm assuming
we're all different.
Exactly. I'm assuming how this vase is supposed to look. And I'm trying to tell you, and at the same time, you follow my instructions. You're like, wait, this is not how I remember it's supposed to go. And then you look at me and you're like, hey, your vase is broken. You know, that piece goes right there. And now you're trying to build my vase the way you saw your vase. And I'm telling you to build your vase the way I saw my vase. And now we both are just a jumbled mess of perceptions. Yes. Yeah. So, that was just how we felt about that one. We're gonna break it down a little bit more, but later on, she, like a couple minutes after, she goes on to it. And one thing, this is what we started noticing about Cam. I have never watched Cam Newton's interviews before, but I also, since I don't know a lot about him interview wise, I know him sports wise, and I don't know a lot about her. This is my first time here. I feel like it's important for people to remember that there are two sides to every coin, right? There are two angles, there are two perspectives. There's how Cam is going to view the conversation, and then there's how she's going to view the conversation. Yeah. But as a spectator, we have a beautiful thing of being a spectator. We have the ability to see the story unfold between both of them, right? Mm-hmm. I noticed in the comments a lot, it was a lot of people, like, before we even got to the video, just ripping Cam apart. And there's a lot of people ripping her apart. And it's beautiful how there's a lot of people that what they do is you put yourselves in the shoes of the person that you feel like is aligning more to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when you put yourselves in that person's shoes, yeah, it feels right because they align with you. But what you lose is that empathy to feel what that other person is thinking about. Mm-hmm. And so as we were watching it, I had to stop myself from doing this because I'm like, bro, Cam is tripping. But then I was like, I need to start looking at it. Why is he responding the way he's responding? So let's just go to it.
People come from that. And so it gave me the ability to see good in people, but be a hybrid and not be naive to, excuse my language, the bullshit that trauma and the inner city and abandonment can create somebody to be if you're not careful with that.
Okay, Siri, stop the clock. Boom, right there. I just asked a simple question.
Yeah, and I gave you a simple answer.
That was not simple.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first saw that, right, I'm like, this man did not care. That man did not care. Like, you can even see by the
simple question. Siri, stop the clock. Boom, right there.
Look at the body language, right? Look at it. Look at everything. Look at how it's a bad freeze frame, but look at it. It's more of like it gives off that impression of like, bro, she just did all this yapping, dog. Like, I don't care about none of that. And by me saying that, it was disingenuous for me because it's like, I don't know what he really thought about it. You know, I'm just giving my perception of how I'm seeing it. You know what I'm saying? But it genuinely felt like he perceived everything she said about that as just like, you did everything but answer what I told you to answer. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about that, Alex?
Yeah, I feel like some people are just like, they'd rather you just like get straight to the point. It was a long-winded like explanation, but I feel like it did a little bit of justice because it gave the viewers a little bit more insight on like who she is as a person, and it's gonna show later on in the interview.
Right. So then we're gonna play the rest of that.
I just asked a simple question.
Yeah, and I gave you a simple answer.
That was not simple.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
So you're from Los Angeles, California?
I'm from LA.
Okay.
Yeah. I just nipped it.
And that's kind of that right there. That I could say that's kind of how we as men think. If I ask you, hey, what do you want to eat today? I want you to just tell me, I want tacos, or I want Chinese food, or I want salad. I don't want to hear last time I ate tacos, it made my stomach feel upset. So, and then we had Chinese food last week. So I feel like we kind of need to start, because in my mind, I'm already checked out now. Because out of all that stuff you just said, I heard no tacos, no Chinese. And then it's going to ultimately end up being, what do you feel like? So it's like, by the time I get to the, what do you feel like? I'm already like, man, you just said no tacos. You said no Chinese. The only option that you didn't eliminate was a hamburger. So we about to go get hamburgers. And then you go, well, I don't really want it. It's like, dang, we ain't got no more options, man. But as a man seeing it happen, I felt like she gave a good response to why she needed to break that down a little bit more. So I'm gonna play that.
And all the other questions you was going to ask all in one. I'm making your job easier.
Extremely. I was like, yo, I just
easier.
wanted to know where you was from. You know, I was just going back to the Wikipedia.
But you should know this, Cam, because I was told you have a great relationship with your father, that asking somebody where they're from is also asking them about who is connected to where they're from. And for me, I stand on the shoulders of my father, Darren, my mother, Kim, my grandfather, Bailey, and my grandmother, Mariah. So for me to say where I'm from without saying me standing on their shoulders is an incomplete narrative. And so I can't say that without saying I come from them, who I'm standing on, and this is the product of it.
Right.
That's true. Because that is. When you tell people where you from, it's almost like you get a sense of pride, you know? Like when people be like, oh, you from Cali? It's like, yeah, I'm from Cali. I'm from this part of Cali. My mother was this in Cali, blah, 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 blah. It's because I'm molded by my environment. And so when I talk about it, I gotta let you know, I can't just say I'm Cali. I'm from Cali. I gotta let you know I'm from SoCal. I'm from this, you know? Go ahead, Alex.
No, I completely agree. I feel like there was a disconnect with Cam because like she gave that explanation, but she addressed two things in that explanation. She addressed the wiki, the not having a Wikipedia, and where she's originally from, like, you know, her background. So it's just like, you know, I felt like Cam was disconnected at that part because he just wanted a cut and dry. This is all
where I'm
from Los Angeles.
Yeah, he didn't want that full on breakdown.
Yeah, because you never know, because it could have led into another question that he probably had to open up the dialogue for her to be like, oh well, you know, he was probably gonna ask like, oh, what was your childhood like in Los Angeles? Like,
yeah, and
what
she
did you grow
jumped
up
the
doing?
gun.
And she kind of
she bum rusted the gun.
Parents married?
Yeah,
They were not.
They were together, and do you think that had any type of impact on the woman that you are today?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Well, how though?
Yeah. I love that question. You know, it impacted me in a lot of broken ways, but it impacted me in a lot of really healthy ways. Contrast, which is something most people don't like, really is our best friend.
So I had to jot this part down when she broke this down because one thing the Bible says, it says, raise up a child in the way that they should go, right? And so the thing is, I always hate it when people bring up the argument of like, I had both parents in my household, so this is why I'm great. Or I had a dad and a mom. Because in my mind, I'm like, dude, my mom did such a good job raising me. I have morals. I have a sense of God. I've achieved a lot in my life. And so I always had this chip on my shoulder because my father wasn't present, that it doesn't matter. In my mind, I'm like, it don't matter that I was raised by a single mother. Me needing a father, it's like, clearly I did okay. Clearly I turned out great. I'm a champion in sports. I got all these college people trying to recruit me. I got married before I'm 20. I got my house before I turned 21. You know, and it's all this. And it took me being around 25 to realize that, like, because of my lack of, I had to put on a sense of pride or a sense of like proving that I needed to be better than, if you had a dad, oh cool, I need to show that I didn't need a dad. I had my uncles, I had my coaches, I had all this. You got a dad and you turned out like that. So guess what? Like, guess who came out on top? The kid with the, and it was just like, I didn't heal from that. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so her saying that marriage, it does impact on a child's development. I feel like it does play a key point that it's hard to see in the moment, but as you look outside and you reflect it, it does it does create this sense of, now that I've seen the standard of how my life turned out or how my parents were, I can strive. I grew up with this concept of, oh, my dad wasn't here, so guess what? When I get kids, I'm gonna be there to prove that this is what a man look like. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this. My dad didn't do this. So when I get up, I'm gonna do it just to prove, like, you feel me?
Right. I completely agree with what you're saying. And I want to say this because a lot of people frown on people that were raised in a single parent household, whether it be a male or female raising them. Just because you have two parents in the household don't mean that they're actually there in the household, because your father can be disconnected from your mother, and that can show up in the household. And in close proximity around you, it may look like one thing, but behind closed doors, it's another thing. And it was different for me because I grew up in a single parent household majority of my life up until my mom got married. But the difference between me and other kids was that my mom was married to a woman. So I didn't have the father figure in my life to tell me, oh, this is how a man is supposed to treat you. This is how a man is supposed to court you. This is how a man is supposed to talk to you. This is how you're supposed to carry yourself as a young lady. This is what men look for, don't look for. This is what traits of a manipulator, abuser, a narcissist, whatever. I didn't have that. So it's like, it's hard. Like when people say like, oh, the father don't mean nothing, the this, the father plays a vital role in the household, just like the mother does. Look at men that grew up without having their mothers in their home. They don't know how to be nurturing. They don't know how to be empathetic. They don't know how to be caring. They don't know how to be loving. They don't know how to be vulnerable, because those are the things that a mother is: nurturing, loving, caring, enduring. Like they sacrifice a lot to, have children and, be that role model for their kids. And it does impact the children. But I feel like people shouldn't frown at anybody's living situation in regards to whether they grew up in a single family household or with two parents, because they both have their pros and cons. Yes, both your parents are there, but your father can be completely disconnected from his family. Your mother can be completely disconnected from her family. She can take care of y'all for the things like your necessities and stuff like that, but your mother can be closed off. Your father can be closed off. There's there's going to be things that you see in their marriage or in their relationships that you're going to pick up on, and you're going to carry that for the rest of your life.
Right. And I think that is a good way to look at it, is because the reason why I have the feeling, if people ask me if I could go back and have my father be in my life, my father be in my life, there's part of me that says yes, I do, because it would have been nice to have the father figures and all that. But then there's that other side of me when I say no, I don't, because one, the amount of love, drive, and dedication my mother put into me and my siblings was just, I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I owe my mom everything, because dude, my mom showed so much grace, determination, and love and compassion to shape me and mold me. It's just like, I don't want to change none of that. Plus, my dad's absence allowed for other men who saw potential in me to fill in that void. To be honest, I don't feel like I ever grew up without a father figure. I didn't have a dad, but I had so many strong father figures. I had my uncle who was there every time. I had my coaches who were there every time. And it was just like, part of me was like, I didn't need the dad. But to be ignorant and say that having the dad wouldn't have been beneficial, yeah. But yeah, so it's just go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anything, like mine would be a hard, like, no, I would not go back. Even even if I were to say yes, it would only to be able to show me the things that I need to avoid just in general. Because I don't think, I always say this, like my other siblings, my brothers, they get mad, but I feel like what's for me is for me. What's intended to be for me is intended to be for me. And if my father being in my life was supposed to be for me, then it would be. Some things I can't cry about stuff I ain't never had. I can't cry about stuff that is not, I don't have a connection with there, or I'm disconnected from. So it's like, it's not gonna hurt me at the end of the day, whether I have a relationship with him or not, because all of the love that my mom poured into me
outweighed everything.
She outweighed his absence. So it's just, you know.
We're gonna move on a little bit.
I was definitely, I had to learn. I love that. That is so on point. You're 100% on point. I definitely have been the run of the track star. I had to learn. I spoke about this earlier with my makeup artist, Felicia. I had to learn what not running looked like. See, I didn't have to learn how to get away from you because you weren't treating me good. I didn't have to learn how to make sure you respected me and you showed up solid, because I was gonna pivot, right? Pivot and running, that's my first nature. I've been doing this all my life. I had my track shoes on. I came into the relationship with my track shoes on, and I went to bed with them with you. So they're not like they was ever off. I had to learn how to stay and evolve with.
And that's one thing in marriage. In marriage, it 100% is that. Learning how to evolve and stay with it. And the beautiful thing is because as we're going through marriage, nobody breaks down that marriage is hard, right? I didn't hear about marriage being difficult until I was engaged. That's when I start hearing about how hard marriage was, how difficult marriage was, and all that. But one thing people say is marriage is a commitment. Once you start it, the only way you can get out of it is divorce. And so it goes into it when you start experiencing, and I notice it happens when people are dating too. When you start experiencing the hard, rocky parts of being in the relationship, a lot of people's first instinct is
jump ship.
I gotta go.
Jump ship.
I gotta leave. And when you take that marriage to that next step, you can still jump ship, yes, but before God and before your peers, you are telling everybody around you that, hey, this is the person I'm not finna jump ship with. I'm finna stay on this boat and I'm gonna ride the waves off. And a lot of y'all don't know how serious that commitment is, because as soon as something don't go your way, y'all ready to divorce. Y'all ready to separate. Oh, I don't want to be near him. I don't claim that man. That was just your love a couple seconds ago. And so learning how to evolve with it, that is the key to making your marriage successful. Learning how to adapt. Learning how to say, yeah, I ain't really jack with that, but let me see why my partner felt like that. You know? Go ahead, Alex.
But I agree with that, but that's if that's what you choose to do. If you don't choose to do those things, then don't expect happy wife, happy life, and all that kind of stuff. Which that saying is, she ain't the only one in the marriage. She ain't the only one that needs to be happy. So it has to go both ways. But if people aren't willing to make things work, or try to adapt, or try to be understanding or empathetic and all that kind of stuff, yeah, your marriage is not gonna last. And people will say, like, people will look at other people that are married, they'll look at us and be like, oh, well, y'all look like y'all got it all together, like this is cool, this is blah blah blah. And we don't speak on the things that go on in our marriage, but when we finally do, people be looking at us and they be like, what, y'all got problems? Or they'll be laughing like, what y'all having arguments for? We two people. We're two people that are conjoined as one, with our own separate problems, with our own separate types of ways of perspectives, and we have to come together and have the same mindset, same perspective, same level of understanding. That's hard. That's hard
Yeah,
for anybody.
it's very
if
hard.
If I say I want this phone on the table, and he says no, I want it on the bed. You're gonna have conflict right there because I said I want it here, but he said I want it there. So what are you gonna do to compromise between here and there? It's just it's not rocket science, y'all. Anytime you're in a relationship with anybody, whether it's intimacy, romantic, just co-workers, peers, or anything like that, it's a give or take. It's not easy. It's not easy like building bonds and all that kind of stuff with people and keeping it strong despite your differences.
I had to learn that commitment's not a feeling, and that when I'm triggered, I have to stay committed to what I said I was going to do, regardless of how I feel, regardless of where this relationship or this conversation triggered or took me in my pain. I couldn't let my pain tell me it's time to leave this Negro and sabotage. I had to let my healthy self say, wait a minute, let me overpower the pain, because the healing is gonna say, do you wanna be here? The pain is gonna say, you need to be here. And heal.
She talking because she talking because at the end of the day, and this is why we were stressing so much of, the key to finding that perfect one for yourself is to be at a point where you feel like you love yourself. Because a lot of y'all will fall in love with people and then hate yourself. You love what this person stands for. You love what this person represents. You love how this person operates, but you hate how you look. You hate how you walk. You hate how you talk. You hate everything about yourself. And then you go with this self-hate and go try to approach this person. And this person sees this is a person that don't love themselves. This is a person.
Can you love them?
Right. If you don't love yourself, how can I trust you to love me? If you won't take the bullet for yourself or for people, if I see that conflict comes and you flee, how am I supposed to trust that you gonna protect me? You don't love yourself. You don't have your character for yourself. Go ahead, Alex.
I agree. It's lack of knowing your worth. Are you not worth fighting for? Are you not worth taking a bullet for? Are you not worth fixing your marriage for? Are you not worth, all of the things that you want and desire? Are you not worth those things? It's the lack of self-worth, it's self-doubt, and it's like trauma-infused insecurities that you're dragging on into another relationship with another person. And you can't attach people to your life to like fill a void that can be and will always be temporary. You have to lay the foundation for whatever's coming in to rest on top of it, because things change in life. The things that you experience in life may not always look the same or be the same, but what somebody else has. So you got to really understand like who you are as a person, what you're working with, what you got, what you don't got, and what you want for yourself, and really aim for that. You can't just sit and be walking around just grabbing and attaching yourself to whatever. Right.
And it's crazy because we segued into that, but that broke down. She expanded on it as well.
A person that I look at and I say this very humbly, besides myself, because I've done a hell of a job of working through my pain pockets. I've done a hell of a job of getting myself to a place of thriving and no longer surviving. And so that person is me. I look at myself and I say, I want to be you. I look at myself and I say, I love you. I look at myself and I thank that little girl for surviving. And then that little girl looks at that woman and she says, thank you for learning to thrive, because now I'm able to be a little girl and do the things I can do. And I no longer have to protect you as a woman and show up in your relationships, because there's no place for a little girl or a child in adult relationships.
Yeah, so.
Did the video cut off?
No, I just paused it. I paused it because I thought.
butchering on my end.
Oh,
as
my
long as it
fault.
comes out good in the actual
Yeah,
recording, it doesn't matter.
No, it's fine.
Not just only
Maybe you need
romantically,
to lower
but
the-
professionally. And so I would honestly have to say that that woman would be me, working through, conditions of love and coming to a place of self-love. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
So
her.
this is a trigger for me. Because if you've never witnessed it firsthand, a healthy relationship, you find that source in yourself, which I...
Well, I never said I haven't witnessed a healthy relationship. Is there a person you
Tangibles.
said?
See, so I get what Cam was about to throw out there. I get it because this is an argument that I've had with people concerning relationships and marriage. I've had this same argument, and I've actually argued it from the point Cam was saying it, right? And it's because it's like if I'm a chef, right? And I'm a professional chef, but then you come in and you have never cooked before, right? You've only cooked basic things, like you've only cooked at home items, like you know how to cook spaghetti or something like that, right? I'm a chef by trade, so I'm already at another level. But then you come in and you go, you need to add this, or you need to put this in it. It's like, how are you gonna tell me what I need to add on something that I do every day?
Amateur versus professional.
Right. And so the angle he's arguing is, as a single person, because at the end of the day, a marriage is just two people that became one, right? And then being single is you're just one person, right?
Right.
So a lot of people feel like, since I'm in a relationship, how can you, somebody who's not in a relationship, give me advice? And it goes vice versa of when you talk to single people, and this is why I stopped arguing this point. When you talk to single people, the single people go, how can you, somebody who's married, try to explain to me how the single world works? You get me? And so I get the angle he's arguing it, because I do agree it works, but it's a situational type of thing.
Right.
If I'm trying to tell you as a married person the key to how you're supposed to treat a woman, I have all the experience because I'm constantly dealing with women, right? Now, I could be a failure at it, but from my, let's say in a generous world, I'm a married man who has a successful marriage, and I'm trying to give a single man the keys to how he's supposed to treat his woman. I can give you that advice because I'm actively doing it, right? But the reason why this argument stopped working is because there are people who are single who knew how to treat women the right way. Fate just led it another way. And so it goes into this thing of, because you're actively living in it, you think that nobody can tell you how the outcome is. But we discredit the fact that just because somebody's not actively living in it does not mean that they have the experience of dealing with it.
Right.
So I feel like that was what Cam was going for, and I get it. And when I heard him say it, I knew immediately, because I've argued that same point. You feel me? But it's disingenuous, because just because somebody's not in the battlefield with you right now, don't mean that they haven't had the experience on the battlefield.
Right. No, I agree.
All right. And so Cam breaks it down a little bit more. He goes into it.
Angel. And I always love having real conversations with my mom. She's a church-going, God-fearing woman. All she knows is my dad. And I use her for a source of wisdom, and she used me for a source to stay hip.
Nice.
And she says this about relationships. Everybody wants to find a happy ending.
Right.
And they want to find heaven in a person, right? And run off in the sunset. But the reality is, nobody wants to find somebody who's worth going to hell for. That's real.
What? No, I'm just playing. I get the angle he was trying to go for, but nobody is worth going to hell for. That's one. Nobody. Sorry. Husband, wife, kids, mama, cousin, uncle, daddy, grandfather, grandmother. Nobody's worth going to hell for. But I do understand like the angle.
It's the metaphor. It's the metaphor he's trying to use, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna break it down in a literal sense, and then I'm gonna attest to his metaphor, because we gotta give him the grace of the metaphor, because the metaphor makes sense, right? In a literal thing, right? And this is why I say people be careful, because like sometimes you gotta say things and it's no attest to his mom. In the literal sense, no one is worth going to hell for, because hell is not what people have the understanding of. Hell is separation from God. Hell is the concept of what we thought hell was. We thought hell was the burning thing with the red devil and all the demons all over the place. That's what we thought hell was. No, hell is complete separation from God. It is when God pulls his presence from you. He pulls the spiritual covering from you. He pulls everything that is connected to him. He rips it away. And a lot of people don't understand it. Even atheists right now, you're an atheist on this planet, you're walking around, the presence of God is still around you. It's still there. You have not experienced hell yet. You'll know, because when he rips back that tarp, he takes that blanket off, you'll experience it. That's when everything, your thoughts consume you. Your anxieties, your depressions, the things that you're conflicted with, your ailments, they have full reign to do whatever they feel like. And that is what hell is. And so when people say analogies of like, I've been through hell, like all that, I always like, oh, okay. Because at the end of the day, I know you're saying a metaphor. Metaphorically, that's how you feel. But
metaphorically, you've been through a lot.
Right. And so leading into Cam's example, a lot of people want to see the heaven in people, but nobody wants to find somebody that they're willing to go to hell for, right? Breaking it down metaphorically, it makes 100%. A lot of people, when they see that person that they think is going to be their ideal match, their ideal partner, the perfect person for them, a lot of people go around the world looking for that angel of a person, that dream princess, that Casanova, that evil twin, you just like me for real, that what you do, I do, and what I do, you do, because we do it together. Y'all all want to see that ideal perfect match. But a lot of people, they see the sugar roses and the beauty of that person. But then when you start telling them like, hey, that's the destination, here's the road you're gonna go through. Here's their trauma, here's the family, here's the debt, here's the income, here's society, here's that person's own personal feelings, here's the problems that you've been neglecting, and here's that. You're not willing to go through that road that we're gonna label metaphorical hell. You're not willing to go through that road with that person.
It's unchecked baggage.
Right. And that's why Cam's example makes sense. His mom's example makes sense. Because if I show you the honey, sugar, and roses part of it, everybody goes, oh, I'll do anything for that girl.
Yep.
Because you see them at their best, or you see them with your blinders on. You see them with the visor on. Yeah. But once that sun go down, the moon come out. And the moon starts showing you things that you didn't see when the sun was out. Because everything starts crawling out when the moon come out. That's where a lot of y'all ain't willing to go through it. That's where y'all start learning that the girl got childhood traumas. I can't deal with no girl that got trauma issues like that. She needs to fix herself. But she was just perfect in that sunlight. The girl get to you. Oh, you was perfect. You was a gentleman and all that. What you mean you ain't got no car? I can't do that one. He ain't got no car. You not a real man. But I was a real man when I was paying for that dinner. I was a real man when I made sure you got to your spot. I was a real man when I was all that. So a lot of people are seeing heaven in people, but ain't nobody worth going through the hell for. Right? So that's the metaphor. Literal, do not go to hell for nobody. Nobody's worth going to hell for. Your kids ain't worth hell. Your mama ain't worth hell. Nobody is worth separation from God, because that's the person who provided it. You go into the restaurant and you don't want to be near the chef? You don't want the chef to cook the meal? Nah, so I get it, and metaphorically he made sense.
Real love. Because that's understanding that you're not a finished product.
Right.
You're worth finding the best version of you.
Of yourself, yes.
And you running away or not having a person in your life that can assist, help, you go to and say, girl, let me tell you, Tyrone, he doing it again. What do you do like when Tyrone ain't answering his phone and I know he say he at work, but I don't know, I done looked at the other girl Instagram and they in the same blah, blah, blah. You know how
I get what you're saying.
Detective women can be like.
So I get what he's saying too. When me and Alex were dating, right? There was a lot of people that showed us the good side to it, right? There was a lot of people that gave us the advice on, they gave me all the details of how to be the perfect man, the perfect husband for a healthy relationship, right? I have all these people to tell me the good side about dating, the good side about this. The thing I lack in my circle, I don't have anybody that is going to give me the advice for the bad side of relationships. I don't have anybody that's there to tell me when my wife is tripping, how should I respond? When she feels like she don't need this and I feel like she need this, how do I approach it? How do I speak to her about it? And the sad part is, by the grace of God, like she said earlier, the only way God was going to be able to give it to me, because I didn't have a circle of people that could tell me about it, God made me experience it. God made me experience it and said, here, I'm going to teach you how to do it. It's going to hurt, but after you get through the hurt and you get the experience of how to deal with your wife, it's going to be so much better for it if you get through it. And here, dude, I went through it. And I wasn't understanding it because I didn't have anybody in my circle who has also went through it to tell me the blueprint of, this is why your wife is doing this. This is what you're supposed to do when your wife does this. I had to get it. I had to just run through the trenches with it. You feel what I'm saying? Alex, if you got something to say?
No, I'm processing everything you just said.
Okay,
but no, yeah, I agree. It is difficult getting married and you don't have I would say like-minded people or people that have experienced marriage to seek counsel from. A lot of times before and after getting married, it was a lot of people that were single giving advice but had never been married and will never go to the extent of making sacrifices or cooperating for the sake of their relationship. I had a lot of single friends that would project the things that they do in their relationship onto my marriage. And a lot of people, I always say, I don't have friends like that. I don't have female friends because, and I'm gonna stick to it, a lot of the female friends that I had, they were in the single-minded mindset. So if there were situations that were coming about in their relationship, they're operating on what's best for them and not best for the relationship as a whole. So if their men were doing something that they didn't like, they're not having conversations or dialogues or discussions with their men. They're acting out of pure emotion and they're going outside doing whatever they want to do because they don't know how to face the conflict at hand. So
right.
I didn't really I didn't really have a lot of people give me hot like relationship advice. I got more of like, this is what Justice like, this is like what he likes to do, this is what he don't like to do type thing. That's him as an individual. It's gonna be different when we're one. So those same things that he likes as an individual, he may not like going into our marriage anymore. Now what do I do? So yeah.
So I feel like Cam was talking on that point.
They gonna figure that out. But you not having that source in the time of need, not when everything's good. We don't need no more invitations to the wedding or to the anniversary or to the party or to this or to that. We need people who gonna help me when I need help in an unconventional or when the situation is not so much straight and narrow.
Right. And that's everything we just said right there. That's why I say I felt what he was talking about. I feel it because that's genuinely what it needs. I say, if you see me on Discord, my little bio says creating a circle full of talented individuals, right? Kino, I'm saying creating a circle, right? But the reason is because I need people that are going to match the energy and wavelength I'm on, but I also need people that if I get in a situation, I get in a breakdown, I also have that able-bodiedness to be able to have the conversation with these people, right? Because if we all are on the same road and we taking the journey together, and you trip on a rock at the first start of the journey, and then as we're walking, you go, wait, that's like that rock I tripped over earlier. Watch out. You feel me? That is gonna make the group better because now we all going, hey, that's that rock that such and such told us about. Hey, be careful. And now that whole journey, we only have one rock trip casualty.
Right.
Versus if I don't have these people that they're gonna tell me about the rocky spots, the hard spots, we got a 35 tripped over rock casualty score. You feel me? So yeah, he was talking his talk in that part. Now we're gonna get down to, he brung up something called a healthy ecosystem in a relationship, and Dr. Bryant did a very good job of breaking it down.
Healthy ecosystem, where I'll give you an example.
No, I got you.
Staying on point,
okay.
It is quick. So if I take a relationship serious with an individual, it's going to be hard for that individual to understand or to fight for something if her resources are single women.
I agree.
Are bachelorettes.
I agree.
Are divorcees.
I agree.
Are certain situations, and I'm like,
100%.
So they say, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you're the only good girl out of all these?
No.
So before we get to her explanation, I do want to say, what is something that we always say on this channel?
Single people keep single people single. That's why I don't have single friends.
Single people keep single people single. Now, some of y'all must say, well, like, isn't that a contradiction to what y'all say? Just because there's two things that can be true. There could be something that's wrong in one scenario that's right in another, right? And so what we're saying is single people keep single people single is not to discredit the fact that the single people may have experience being with somebody. It's the thing of, they say, growing up with women, my sisters were taught, if you want to be married and you want to be a housewife, start hanging out with housewives and operate how they operate, because they're in the game. Yeah, to some extent. Everything got to be taken with a grain of salt, right? Everything, do not 100% advice. Everything, there's going to be something you can chunk tangible, and then there's something that you can throw away, right?
Yeah, you should never get into a situation where you're emulating somebody's full-on life and taking it on for your own. So yeah, with a grain of salt. Yeah, if you want to be married, hang around women or men that are married. Seek counsel or advice.
Right, because it's like being an athlete on the field, right? If I've never played football before, I'm gonna go to a coach. I'm gonna go to a person who plays football to teach me football. right?
Not a tennis player.
Exactly. I'm not gonna go to a guy who plays basketball all day and ask him to teach me how to properly do a side block. I'm not gonna go talk to a tennis player and ask him to teach me the proper route. You feel me? Because I need to talk to a football player. And when you're single, you got to understand you have a way of thinking, because you're not in a position in your life when you're single. You don't have to worry about somebody else. You can focus on things that suit what you need, how you feel, and what operates on your time. Now you're going to another person who's already in that same mode as you, where they're thinking about themselves, and you're going, how do I make somebody else happy? You get me? And so, go ahead.
I was gonna add, I feel like people that are single, I feel like you guys have more of an advantage, because when you're single, meaning like you're not married, or if you're somebody that's choosing not to date, you have all the time that you need to really like self-reflect on yourself as a person, accomplish goals that you want to accomplish, and set out tasks that you feel like are that are obstacles for you that you can get done before you get in said relationship. Because one thing I can say is that getting married didn't allow us to really head on face the things that we were dealing with as individuals before we got married. We had to, the bright side is we got to go through it together, and we had a support system. We had each other to like get through it. But had we took the time to like really get to know ourselves as young people and all that kind of stuff, I feel like a lot of things that we deemed as trauma in our life wouldn't have spilt over into our marriage to some degree, if that makes sense. I
feel like I agree with you that single people do have the advantage of self-reflection. I feel like it's an advantage, but it's a double-edged sword, right? And it's only because it's this. If you're doing everything in your life and you feel like because this is working for you, this is right. If everything is working out, doing the thing that you feel like is best for you, it's very hard for you to take criticism when somebody says you're doing wrong, because you have results. You get me?
Okay, that's true.
No, and this is not.
That's a good. Yeah.
And
that's a good tidbit.
Yeah, and this is more like a branch. It's a double-edged sword, because the swing was good. You have the right for self-reflection, but it's a double-edged sword when you come back, because you can cut yourself, because you're operating the whole entire time of your life thinking that because this is giving me the results, it's the right way to do it. But then when somebody comes out and says, hey, you know you're doing that wrong, you go, I did all this. How is it wrong?
No, that completely makes sense, because we bounce back off of each other like that. So yeah. And that was one thing that I mentioned in the last podcast. Being married gave me a different perspective. It gave me different lens and eyes that I never had, so I can see it from a different angle. But learn a lot more, because when you're thinking in one way, there's still so much more ahead of you, behind you, around you. And when you're just thinking in one specific way, you're not allowing yourself to grow and like fully blossom in the things that are surrounding you.
Right. And so that's just how I feel. So, but I don't want to segue too much into that. But yeah. And so I feel like it's good to, like he said, to start creating an ecosystem. Even if you have, just because your ecosystem is, your goal is to be in an ecosystem full of married people, you can have the single people in your ecosystem.
Yeah. But
you got to have the single people that have the same objective of they also want to be married. You can't have an ecosystem of you got 3 married people telling you this is what you need to do to get married. You got one single person who's going, yeah, I agree with them. This is what we need to do. And then you got 2 single people going, man, bump all that. Look, do what makes you happy. Do what you wanna. You know, I'm doing it. I'm working out fine. I was just with Jessica last week and I'm with Sarah tonight. Bro, it's all good. After you have all your fun, then you know you can worry about all that. Yeah, it's working for me. You got to have that ecosystem that's all going, marriage is the objective for everybody involved. You get me?
I think people give advice from their results.
Right.
Right. So every day we live on the results of our decisions. And so they're giving you advice on things they have experience in. If it's single, it's experience in being single. If it's married, it's advice from a married woman. So what I'm saying is, yes, I have a strong support system. I have a healthy ecosystem. I have people that I do go to. And the Bible says, do I seek wise counsel? Yes. And I have wise counsel within my world and within my foundation.
So now, you have them now? Or?
Yes, I have them now. Yes, I have that.
But when I just asked you,
no, that's not what you asked me, or how I received it was, is there anyone who I look to that I'd want to?
Key point. She just said something, right? This is why I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, Cam is just blah blah, he's not hearing blah blah blah. But here's a key point that she also just said right now, because Cam just said that's not what I asked you, but keep in mind she said how I received it. Right?
Asked me, or how I received it was.
How I received it was, and this is why I bring back to the part of we're outside in the stands watching their perspectives. Because to Cam's mind right now, he's going, I just asked you earlier about your ecosystem and you said this, but now that you're giving me the explanation, it sounds like you could have just answered this earlier when I asked you.
Yeah, he asked her, do you have somebody in your life that, you know, shows like embodies love or shows you love to some extent?
Right.
And then that he segued into the ecosystem because she said herself, and that was a contradiction for Cam, because it's like, okay, but who around you showed you to love yourself to this, you know, to this extent where you don't see anybody else around you that embodies the love that you have for yourself.
Right. And that's why, perfect, Alex, that was perfect. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the comments and I'm telling everybody now, when you guys watch this interview, the first time, I watch interviews twice. And sometimes you got to watch it a third time. When I watch the first time, I'm naturally going to listen to the person that I agree with, right? So once I agree with you, that whole interview, I'm listening to what I agree with. But then I watch it back again and you got to put it in. And a lot of people don't have time for this. So you got to learn how to switch on and off to understand, or learn how to do it both at the same time, right? But this is how I got to a point where I was. After I get done listening to the interview about what I heard, I watch it and now I'm going to be on this person's perspective of the person I wasn't hearing. And I'm gonna see if I can understand why they're saying what they're saying. And then once I watch that second time and understand that, I watch it the third time to see where did the disconnects start to happen. Because it's easy to say, well, this person's right because X, Y, and Z, I don't understand it. Or this person's right because A, B, C, I don't understand it. But then when you put it all together, he had A right, she had B right, he had C right, she had D right. Down the middle, instead of it all being on one side, you know?
Right.
Is there anyone who I look to that I'd want to be like or admire? I don't have that. That person would be myself. But as far as a support system, not only do I have a therapist, not only do I have a pastor, not only do I have a mother, and I have a circle of wealth, which I call friends and support system, who, male and female, single and married, who, that's why I said, some do have healthy relationships and some don't have healthy relationships, but they're all part of my ecosystem. Again.
Yeah, so as she broke it down, I'm sure it's starting to click with Cam. It's just at first when he asked that initial question, like she said, I received that question a different way. That's why I gave that answer. So, but we're gonna move a little bit past this a little bit, because Cam also said something about Black women investigating. Black women being detectives, that they should be in the CIA. And that is one thing that is a common stereotype that is in Black culture, is that our women always gotta find out something or be in the scoop or they have to do all this. But Bryant had a very good counter argument to that claim.
That Black woman, and I know it was a joke, but being serious, Black women are women, you know, folks would hire to do the detective investigative work. because they gonna find out anything. They gonna be on social media, Instagram, cell phones, all that. They're gonna piece it together. They're gonna figure it out. See, that's the dysfunction that I'm talking about is an issue.
Okay.
And that's also when I'm referring to low functioning behaviors.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's the women that do it, it's gonna be a hard pill to swallow and listen to it. But
you need to.
You need to. Men can be in that category too, but we ain't talking about men. We talking about women right now.
Right.
So we're not gonna do the tit for tat, but we just.
And sometimes it takes a woman to point out the issues for other women.
That's a choosing issue. First of all, not that I'm better than any other woman or they're better than me. I'm not choosing a man that I have to become a detective to. Even the men I called off weddings from, to their defense, just because I called it off doesn't mean they weren't good men. Right. I'm choosing men who I can be a wife or a woman to. I'm not choosing a man that I can be a detective to. Right. So when women are choosing men, I think that certain things to become aware of are, do I have to go into my detective, which is my trauma? Do I have to go into my investigative, which is my dysfunction? Yeah. Because if so, that man is triggering and bringing those things up. And he only brings those things up in you because those things are in him. Yeah. And start trusting your spirit more, lady.
She's talking her talk. This lady talking her talk. She's talking her talk. And I feel like it also goes hand in hand with I am the expression I am my environment.
Right.
And so it goes to content creator, right? It's like the best example I can give you guys is as a content creator, right? I did not start getting to a higher level in my content creation until I pulled myself out of the environment of content that wasn't good, right? And to break it down is I was trying to do content a way I envisioned it because of the people I was around. The people I was around, they didn't want to do things by the book. They didn't want to understand and research. They believed that as long as they're funny enough, people can get over the constant cursing. As long as you're funny enough, people can get over the trash editing. As long as you're funny enough, people can get over the fact that you guys have no organization over that. And I made content like that for years and it got no results. And my fallback was, but I'm funny. This is what the internet want, right? I'm funny. Why isn't it working? I did the reaction like they said. I did the video like they said. I'm playing the game they said, but I'm funny. Tom 7441 is not funny. But then when I look at Tom 77441's, he got crispy thumbnails. All his edits are smooth. The quality of his production is perfect. His language is clean. He's not cussing every 5 seconds, so parents feel comfortable letting their child sit and watch him.
And YouTube deems you valuable enough to promote ads onto your content.
Right. Then I started switching it up. I moved from that group. Then I went to another group where they had everything. They were clean. They like to do this. Editing, I was in charge of editing. Editing was fine. So everything was cool. But there was something that in that group was lacking, was they didn't understand how to have a sense of humor. You're playing a video game, but everybody's serious.
Or work together.
Yep, you're playing a video game, but two of y'all want to go do your own thing. The other two don't want to do anything. And then there's one guy who I'm just here to do it. Right? My environment in there was something wrong. So then I ripped myself out of that environment and I had to take a step. I said, what is the environment that's going to get me to my objective, that is going to encircle me with what I need to do? And I stepped back. And my sister, it took my advice from somebody who wasn't even a content creator. My sister going, Justice, you're funny. Your wife is funny. You have your wife right there. Why do you need all these other people? Your wife's right there. And guess what? The first time me and Alex did anything together and we put it out, blew up. Boom. Perfect. had my environment, was at where I was at. I was going to other people's environment trying to find success instead of building up my own environment and molding my environment to what it needed to be. And that's the same thing for this dating. You guys are in different, you going into the clubbing environment trying to find a gentleman. It's not gonna work. Then you go into the rich neighborhood and you start faking the funk and you try to get one of these dudes, these pompous dudes, because you're fake now. So the environment's not wrong. You're the wrong piece because you're faking it. You don't go over to this place where you don't come back to your home and scrub the walls down, sweep the floor out, get rid of them spiders in that corner, learn how to properly cook, learn how to fix your stove, learn how to make your home a structure, and then start inviting people that, are you clean? Are you uptight? I mean, are you clean? Are you proper? Are you a gentleman? Come on in.
It's kind of like this. My mom used to be confused about this all the time. And it literally just clicked with me now. My mom used to be like, why is it that when I ask you guys to do things at home, you can't do it at home, but when you go to other people's houses, you can do the exact thing that I'm asking you to do or telling you to do. You can do it so easily over there without anybody telling you. And it's because it's easy to go into somebody else's environment that is not yours because it looks better from where you're standing. The home that I'm in or the environment that I'm in that's causing trauma, I don't want to be in it. So I'm going to go search for something else to fulfill that void that the trauma is constantly taking up space.
Right.
It's constantly taking up space. So it's easy to put yourself in situations or scenarios where, oh, they look like they got it together over here. I'm going to go over here and see what's going on. But then when you leave that environment, your environment is still broken. It's still shattered. It's still dusty. It's still dirty. It still has a lot of maintenance, but you're putting all of that time and effort into somebody else's environment and embodying it as your own. And your environment is still down for service. And it's always going to stay down. And then you're not coming into an environment being your true authentic self. You're coming in trying to fit in, not being yourself.
Right.
When that environment, whether you want to admit to it or not, is a part of you. Your trauma is a part of you. Until you say it's time for me to just let it go.
All right, y'all. This is where we're going to stop it right here because we kind of went on long. I know we ain't got through a good chunk, but if you guys like this conversation, you guys want us to start making more with the rest of this video, please leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a solid comment, and we'll probably drop part 2 tomorrow if you guys like it. All right, guys. Love you guys. Anything else you want to say, Alex?
Peace.
Bye.